Shop smart, shop S-Mart.
What's up, you magnificent maniacs, and welcome to another episode of New Book Booties.
And I have got two of my favorite creative individuals in this indie sphere, Mr. Adam Lawson and Mr. Jason Crager. How you doing, gentlemen? Good to see you.
Good.
Thank you for being here. I'm doing good, man. I got coffee. Crager, you're always so very even keel, man. I love it. You know, it's awesome, man.
You know, it's funny because I feel like artists have to have a calm about them because they've got to be careful with their pens and they've got to sit at it for a long time. It requires some focus. I think that's probably the enemy of good artists is focus and distraction. But
distraction, definitely.
Yeah, distraction's kind of the enemy of anything cool.
Getting anything done, that's for damn sure.
Doing anything cool, distraction is the enemy. Like if you're gonna create something, distraction is just the end of it.
100%.
You gotta check out this cover.
Oh my
that
God!
Jason did. I always tout this because it's this wild, you know, Jeff Darrow level piece of artwork here.
Holy shit,
man! And I love it to hold it in my hands. You know, all traditionally done. And you hold this in your hand and you feel like, wow, I have this is what a comic really is,
right?
And you
that
can't
is
be
incredible.
Distracted delivering this guy. No,
my God, man. Yeah, I was looking at the colored version of it on the campaign, and that's beautiful. The colors turned out amazing, but to see it in black and white, to see the line work like that's damn, son, that is incredible. Like, it's inspiring.
It's an awesome thing, right? It's an awesome thing to feel those lines. And for anybody who doesn't own a piece of original art, a comic book art, which we have 2 pages left of that we've sold over 20 already.
Oh yeah!
And at a crazy price of $165.
At a hell of a steal of a price.
Yep, and it still gets the copy of the book, foil edition book. It's like once you hold this in your hand, an 11 by 17, you can see, you know, so to speak, the artist's blood in the mix. You can see all the whiteout in the places. It changes the experience for you on what a comic page is. You know,
something visceral about it. You know,
feel
that texture.
Right, because looking at this versus holding, you know, just a comic book page, you don't quite get the texture doesn't fully translate, right? There's no dimension to it, right? All the stacking ink. And albeit this is like, for example, this is cool art. I like it. You don't get to feel that weight, and that's a pretty special thing.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, we were talking about this backstage, but there's something, I don't know, and Crager, feel free to, you know, say something about it. There's something visceral about putting ink down on paper. You know, like the interaction of the ink on paper, like in using the implements. Are you a nib man? Are you a brush? Are you a pen kind of guy? What do you use for them pages, Jason?
Well, specifically for the pages, I used a couple different things. First of all, I use Black Star, Dr. Martin's ink.
Black Star's great.
I buy really cheap synthetic brushes like this.
Oh, okay.
Like just packs and packs of them because I destroy them.
All right.
I also use the brush sign pigment pens, these.
Yeah.
And I was using Kiritaki pens, but I also use Pilot pens like these, which Ashley Wood uses.
And anybody who doesn't know Jason knows that he has a secret crush on Ashley Wood art.
Oh yeah. I'm a freak for that guy stuff, like in the worst way. Worst
He's
way.
he's got a unique style, man. You know,
but
and
that's why.
So
Yep.
the
No question
reason.
about it. But this
Go
size
ahead.
thing. Oh, go ahead, Jason. What were you saying?
No, go ahead, man. Cool.
But yeah, but like that size factor. That's why for the exile, anybody who backed this, if you're trying to show us on every
God, I
stream,
can't wait.
The books
I
are
can't wait.
done. They're printed. They're on their way down from Chicago, from China to LA, to Chicago, now to Critical Blast in Arkansas. But I
Nice.
tried to get as close to this as I could with this.
yeah.
If you can imagine, here's a regular comic-sized comic, right? And here's this thing.
Oh, holy
So
shit!
nice.
Yeah, so it's
Oh, damn!
but it hasn't
All
crossed
right.
like the artist edition that's like
Right.
unreadable to read. I think, but yeah. So it's all.
It's
in
it's an
here.
oversized edition. Oh, that is
Yes.
exciting.
All these beautiful
It's-
colors,
Huge. It's
Yeah, it
nice.
is.
and then it's got the ribbon. It's got this great
Yeah.
back cover here. It is just brings me joy, and then it's soft cover. See, I
I'm
found a book and this was
salivating.
black, white, and
Yeah.
red for Wolverine, and I saw
Yeah.
this soft cover, and it actually. I prefer it in soft cover over hardcover because it's so much more readable as a book. Now, if you, I get it if you just want to sit it on a shelf or on a coffee table, but if you want to read it and also have fun displaying it, this is kind of a perfect
Yeah.
copy. Yeah.
Kind of a perfect balance there. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I am wicked excited to get that book, man.
I
That
know.
looks fantastic. I'm super excited that it's oversized. You know, and
gonna
like
be
you said,
nice.
that'll
Well, yeah, it's
fit
this
in-
is
nice in the hands.
right, and it's the way of like, listen, the single issues are out. My error in relationship with the publisher, but at least this way, with what you get, no one else will ever get.
Right.
You'll get a cover no one else ever gets. You get a cool print. You get a metal bookmark. You get these trading cards no one else ever get. And there's some digital collectibles. There's a hidden code in the book.
Oh.
Anyways, that you'll get that gives you a digital collectible. And so, anyways, there's just cool stuff.
Hell yeah.
I tried to make it be like, hey, you waited longer, but you got something no one else will get.
It's it's an exclusive thing. It's something different. It's the prestige format, and I totally get that. Brian Polito's been doing that with Lady Death for a while now. He'd put the prestige format out, the 48 pages, then he'd divide it in two, and he'd put it out through Diamond. So
Right.
I mean, it's not an uncommon thing, and I totally understand doing that. But getting something like that's different, that's unique, that's exclusive to the backing that's pretty damn cool, man. And that's why we do these type of Kickstarter things, the Indiegogo, the crowdfunding, so that we can get those unique versions of the book. So I'm all about it.
Yeah.
But,
no, I think so. Like, I think if you get just exactly what you would get at the store, it almost doesn't feel worth it. Backing it, right? Like, it just feels like you almost got cheated. Like, here's Jawbone Death. These are the test proofs that came over. Like, so you can see that we've got the book. It's all done. Not only is like, here's the two things. It's done, and it's done.
It's
Right.
done.
Hot
Was-
damn.
Right, is to build this, a special foil cover. So that
Yeah.
way, when you get this thing, it's going to be signed. It's
Right.
going to be a special foil edition. It'll be this special black and white, gray toned. So it's not just black and white. It has gray tones and zip tone
Right.
in it. So you'll get a special edition of the book that won't exist when it goes to publication later.
Right.
You'll get a foil edition. It'll be signed. Like, that's a special thing, I think. And
Yeah.
so enough
That's
to
a
sort of
unique
justify
thing.
it. Yeah, absolutely. Because when you
absolutely.
try to buy this kind of stuff at a comic shop, it's significantly more expensive. And anyways,
For sure.
and I love to see, like, it's amazing how just much adding like the zipatones to it and the gray tones, how much that really adds.
Oh,
to the
100%.
page. Yeah.
It really is amazing what the gray tones and the zipatone actually adds to a page. Flying Feline, my lovely lady here, Skull Beautiful. She actually bought me some Jason Crager art. Crager, that Ninja Turtles piece that you sent to her.
like
She
it?
gave that to me for Yule, man, and I got to look at it with all that zipatone and stuff that you put on it. Holy
Nice.
shit, dude! That is an amazingly beautiful piece. So
Thanks.
thank you for all the hard work you put into it, and Feline, thank you so much for that. I love that piece. Skull Beautiful.
You are
Wow.
very welcome, and thank you for
Nefarious.
picking it up. It's
Hey,
beautiful.
Neff, good to see you, dude.
Hey, Feline.
Hi,
Saying,
Feline.
hey, we got a Will Perdomo in the chat as well. What's up, brother? He's
Shameless
expecting
plugs.
shameless plugs.
Yes,
Feline says
Meathead.
hair plugs.
Yes.
Meathead.
Oh yes, looking forward to
Yeah.
Meathead as well. Like you kicking out the jams, man. You're working with some great people, and I'm excited, man. It's great to see you doing all these cool fucking projects, man. You know, I mean, and that just means more
I know,
people
'cause
get to
we've
see
been
your
getting
awesome
tired of
artwork.
Jason doing crappy projects, so we had to start getting him doing good projects.
Right.
I didn't say. I mean, you know, I didn't say crappy projects. Just I want to see more of his work out there, man, because I love his
Yep.
stuff.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I really think that this is that book. You know, I feel like that's the
man.
case. Jason and I have
Yes.
done a lot of pages together, and I feel like we have the right story, we have the right character,
Hell yeah.
and like the right art. You know, I love this our ode to He-Man here in this page.
Yes. That was actually
Yeah.
one of the images I was using when I was working, waiting for you guys backstage. This that whole power stance, man. I love that. What's up, some person? Good to see you. Morb, welcome,
Yes.
sir.
In fact,
good
that
to see you,
page-
man.
That page, Will was the first person to back an original page. He's on the stream here, so that.
Oh,
that will
yes,
be-
he's told me on the phone many times. He is very, very happy with himself with all of the original artwork he has gotten. He has bragged in my ear, and I'm super happy for him. And you
Yes,
know,
he-
only a little bit jealous. Only a little bit. What's up, Neff? Good to see you. He says I own some of that artwork. And what's up, Seth? Thank you, sir, for the awesome scotch that you sent me. Oh, damn! Hang on, let me show that.
the splort, the splort pit. Yeah, this is what it means to make
Dude.
badass comics. They look like
Uh-huh.
this.
Dude, the kinetic energy going on that page is just unfucking real.
Well, I feel like this is the missing component of Western comics is this sense of motion that manga I think is sort of leaned in too hard that we need to pull back in. You know, that when you think about like, you know, you think about what Otomo was doing, you think about
Right.
that speed, that feeling of motion. I think is so crucial. I think the Chainsaw Man, you know, Tatsuki Fujimoto,
Yeah.
no, I don't think anybody would consider him a great artist, even though he sells 1 million copies a month. But he has great energy in his work, and in a way, and what I mean by a great artist is he's an
What's up,
artist. He's
Silver?
good at it.
Right.
But he wouldn't consider himself a Tomo. He wouldn't consider himself these kind of guys. But because he has such emotion and motion, it really makes all the difference.
Absolutely. And, you know, we used to, I don't know, I feel like American comics used to have that energy, that excitement, that movement,
Yeah.
you know, back in the day, and we kind of lost it. It almost feels like, at least to me, working in a comic shop, looking at the artwork that was coming out, it almost feels like everything kind of got sterilized because it wanted to be too much of this widescreen cinematic type thing, and it kind of lost what makes comics unique, at least in my opinion. You know, it kind of lost that kinetic energy, that fun, you know, that energy that kind of reached out and grabbed your eyeballs out of your head and made you pay attention.
Yes.
What do you think, Crager?
I totally agree. There was a time period in comics where drawing realistically kind of made things more stagnant. So by reverting to what comic book illustration is, which is, you know, kind of an impression more than actually like defining every single muscle and making sure the light's all perfect and everything else. Like there's a lot of motion that goes into that. So if you're going to draw realistically, that means you have to ink really fast and make sure that your lines look like there's motion to them,
Right.
as opposed to having that stagnant line. Now, if you're going to do that you have to kind of lean into Mobius and Jeff Darrow and
Oh, yeah,
people
for
like
sure.
that. And anyways, there's a huge difference in how comics are drawn now than how they were drawn 40 years ago. And I actually prefer some of that older stuff. I prefer like the Wolverine run that Bushima did, that was inked by Dennis Cullen. Oh my God. That stuff is the Mandaporian Nights. Bill Sankovich inked a bunch of it. It has so much energy for being realistic, and it's so simple, but people are scared to do that because literally it's become this, how much can I fill a page up with stuff?
Right.
As opposed to storytelling. And I'm more interested in storytelling.
Well, 100%. This is a storytelling medium, man. You know, it's a visual storytelling medium, but it should be about telling the story and telling it well. You know, that's what we do. We're storytellers. You know, and if we're not telling the story correctly, if we're not getting the point of the story across to people, we're not doing our job correctly.
Right.
You know?
I agree.
What's up, Ink Spots?
The faster I can ink, the better.
I agree with you. I think that's interesting that I liked so much about Liefeld was saying this. You know, he's still doing sequential pages, right? He's definitely made a lot of money in comics. He's been as much as anyone can ever make. Him and Mark Millar, right? And Stanley, you know, who's no longer with us. But of guys who are with us, essentially, he's made as much as you could make. So you could say that he doesn't need to do sequential work, if you will, to make a living and to continue his legacy. But, you know, and I know he's retiring from Deadpool, but he'll have done 1,000 pages. And he was talking about it. And it's like, I want to be doing the sequential work. I don't want to be doing covers, just covers. Like, I'm not a cover artist. That's a different person. I want to actually tell the story. And the more I thought about that, I thought, how profound is that? You know, it's like Kintaro, you know, with Berserk. Maybe 10,000 pages, maybe less than that. Maybe
there's a lot of it.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, there's 15 volumes at 600. Anyway, so it's like 6,000.
Damn, that's a
and
lot
so
of
it's
pages.
like,
holy shit.
But he never passed that work off. He always stayed doing it. And then so the authenticity and the quality of what that work is. I think it's the greatest sequential story ever made. I don't think it has an equal, but because he poured his heart in to the panels and not just I did a cool cover and then walked away. Like, he carried that story, right? In his heart. He lived it, he breathed it. That's something different, and I thought it was interesting to hear that from Liefeld, that it's like, no, I'm not just a cover guy. It's not how this is going to be for me. I'll go till my fingers don't work, right? And that's pretty cool, because that, I agree with you, that's what it is about. Because if you just want to do covers, then you could be any artist. But if you want to tell stories, it's something else.
You know, there's something to be said for being able to take one single image and do a whole lot of storytelling. Like, you know, some of the meathead stuff that I've seen that Will has shared with me that you've done, Crager. There's a lot of storytelling that you've done in just those single images. But I really think it's more difficult to do sequentials. It's more difficult to tell a consistent story through, you know, page after page, you know, and to be able to keep people interested, keep it visually interesting as you go on, you know, page after page. I think that's more of a true test of, you know, an artist's ability rather than just, you know, pinups. You know, pinups are everywhere.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. No, totally.
Anyone can do a pinup. Not everybody can do real storytelling really well.
Yeah, there's a craft to that, and that's why it's cool. And I think that's, you know, I was just at I did a post, you know, about this place called Revenge of Comics and Pinball in LA, which is it's the coolest. Jason and I met there the other month.
That's pretty cool.
They got pinball machines there.
It's got 30 pinball games,
and
they're not
awesome.
Just pinball games, Luke. They're the brand new Halloween, brand new Jaws, brand new James Bond. You know, those are $10,000 to $15,000 a game, and there's 30.
Jesus.
And
wow.
It's this, and the guy who built it, who made this, who owns a shop, he built it the inside of it to be almost like a spaceship in the back. So it's like you're in Aliens, and so it's like this immersive experience. Love it. It's cool. Like, once again, he created what this arena is about. It's like, this is the hall that the Misfits go meet at, right?
Right.
This is where, this is where that, you're like, this is the hall where the Misfits meet. And it's what a great vibe. And, you know, let's get in comics there, and there's something like it's fun, like you're grabbing something off the shelf. This one I love. It's amazing, right? Something Killing the Children.
Yeah, I've heard good things about that one. Yeah.
Luke, it's just incredible. And then there's Danny Warren Johnson's Transformers, which is
heard a lot of good stuff about that too. I mean, Danny Warren Johnson is just kicking out the jams recently. I mean, he's killing it,
Killing it. And then there's this rad book I just picked up, 7 Years in Darkness. Sort of solo creator book. Small publishing, and you just bought on a whim, right? And it's like to go there and then you sit there. And then because it's cool about that place is you have a place you can hang out and couches and read and buy a drink and and so you can fully wrap yourself in it. And it's like catching this random one-off book on the whim is so fun, and being able to be a part of that, right? The club of misfits. I think that's kind of what comics always was a little bit. It was like this is what misfits read and talk about.
Totally.
And anyways,
I love the fact that there's pinball in the back of the place. There was an arcade museum and pinball museum down in Daytona. That had these unique columns, and it was just this weird throwback. You go inside and they had this big screen up on a stage that was playing music videos from the late 70s into the 80s and whatnot, and just had this whole vibe of going to a roller rink or an old arcade, and you go get pizza, you play video games, you pay a certain amount, and you can just play all day. And I feel like there should be more of that type of stuff. Unfortunately, the place closed down, but yeah, man, I love that. And the fact that you can get comics there as well, holy shit, I'd never leave.
I know.
It's pretty cool.
What's cool is I went there, you grabbed a comic book.
Right.
I grabbed a Liquid Death. I played a pinball game, and then I sat down on kind of these cool tables and chairs and benches, and then sat down and then read something. Right, all in one experience, and then they have a phone booth that you can play old Nintendo in. Right,
that's rad.
Yeah,
and so
I love it.
You can order breakfast burritos too. They have those.
No, you can't. No breakfast burritos. That's only they do some events that have that, but not on a regular.
I was about to say that for sure would mean that I would never leave that place.
Yeah,
breakfast
sure.
burritos. I love me a breakfast burrito, man.
Yeah, I got a breakfast burrito last time I was there.
Ooh, yum.
Yeah, I did.
What kind of breakfast burrito? Eggs, sausage, bacon?
I think I got the sausage one. Yeah,
nice.
It was fairly good. I mean, it cost probably $15, but it was so good.
I know that there is a price that that there is,
sure.
But it's but anyways but building that kind of experience, I think there's two sides, right? That you need to build a book that somebody wants to go read and talk about. And then,
absolutely.
And then you need a place for people to go and do that thing, to read.
100%.
Right?
Hell yeah.
And it was interesting because Danny Warren Johnson was saying he made this post that somebody was so excited about issue 5 that they couldn't wait to get into they read it in the car outside the comic book shop. And I said, the only sad part of that is he had to go to the car. Right? Because the shop wasn't a place. You could buy something there, but they hadn't built it in a way where then you could enjoy it there.
Right.
And so, and I'm not to speak negatively of that shop. I don't know what shop it is, but that crossing that divide of how do you make it an all-inclusive experience?
Yeah. Unfortunately, the shop that I worked in, it was just a small little shop, and it'd been there since '83. It wasn't built for. It was kind of like one of those just little hallway shops. It wasn't built for people to hang out in to sit and read. Now you could have people talk, and you could have small events there like Free Comic Book Day, but being able to actually sit down and have a coffee or something like that and read comics and discuss. Yeah, I always wanted there to be a place like that around here, but there never was. So it's an interesting thing. Some of these places, they don't have the space to have tables, and sometimes it's a gamble having food when it comes to books and the food as well, because sometimes people can be a little sloppy,
Yeah, well, no, where's they have food when it's an event and they have a place in the back, and I'm not necessarily saying people need to go all the way to that level, right? I think that's a
Yeah.
huge tall order. It almost becomes a different business model altogether.
It does.
Yeah,
It does.
and so I don't need necessarily to put that, but there is something about crafting, having an arena where then you can go and experience that, in the same
100%.
place.
You gotta plan for it ahead of time. It's not something that can just be tacked on. You gotta plan it out ahead of time. And yes, Feline, I did have food made and delivered to me by this wonderfully gorgeous lady that would bring me food and come talk to me and hang out with me. I think she goes by Flying Feline.
Well, see,
Yeah.
well, now that is the ultimate comic book experience.
I mean, seriously,
That is the ultimate.
working in a comic shop, having a gorgeous woman come and bring me food. Yeah, it was a good time, man. It was a good time. Good conversations
Everything has
as
been
well.
downhill since that experience.
It really has, man.
You peaked. You peaked.
Oh,
in,
don't say that. Don't say that. I'm drawing comics now, man. I'm drawing. I got to go to MegaCon and set up and sell my artwork at a table at MegaCon. So it's not all been bad. Speaking of breakfast burritos,
nice.
yeah,
You did it.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
it was a good time, man. I went down with Shattermare Comics, got to set up, and I was selling prints of my artwork. I sold some original artworp there as well, so it was fun. It was a learning experience, but it was a lot of fun, man.
That's what it's about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hey, what's
No, I
up,
love to see
Jason?
people going to MegaCon.
Good to see you, man. Yeah, there was a lot of people at MegaCon. I didn't really get to leave the table all that often, but I got to go say hi to Jeff Loeb. Picked up a Tim Sale Spider-Man print that was on like really good watercolor paper. Jeff signed it. Got to go say hi to Greg Horn, who remembered me from the year before when I interviewed him and when I had my mohawk up. So yeah, it was a good time, man. It was a good time. I really enjoyed being at the show. I'm looking forward to the next one, but got a lot of stuff to get ready for the next time. Oh, hey, Phil. Phil said, "Hey, did MegaCon? Yeah, MegaCon's a great show, dude. It's a lot different than it used to be. That's where I did a lot of my original interviews back in the day, back in 2007, which I can't believe is almost fucking 17 years ago now.
Wow.
What's up, Jonas? Welcome,
Wow.
sir.
A while ago.
Well,
Yep.
I think that when speaking of that, like
Yeah.
Jason and I are obviously pimping out Jawbone Death because we're launching it, and you think about like the ride of like building in the comic book space. Being at cons can't be avoided. It's like,
Right.
and you gotta
I
have to
agree.
embrace it. To like, I think in a way that's the full complete fan experience, right? Is to go someplace and meet somebody. I mean, I met Rick Remender the other day at a small convention at that comic shop. Love Rick. I've read everything he's written.
He's
picked up
good,
Scumbag.
man. I like his stuff.
I love him.
Yeah.
And it's just like there was something that just completed the experience in a way, of my, relationship with his work, right? And it was nice.
Well, I mean, that's the whole point of going to conventions, right? Is to go meet the people that make the books that you enjoy reading. You get to go talk to the people and say, "Hey, I really dug the shit out of this book you made. Thanks for making it." I mean, that's at least that for me. That's the point of going to a convention. You go meet the artists and writers that created the cool shit that you enjoyed reading. Then you get to tell them face to face, "Hey, this is awesome. Thank you."
Right. That's right.
That's right.
This is it's an epic. It's an epic thing. So,
So speaking of Jawbone Death, go ahead, dude. What were we gonna say?
No, please. That's what I had to say.
Well,
Tell us about-
what was the impetus for Jawbone Death? Where did the story come from?
So Jawbone Death came out of sort of three things. Phil's on the line, so we should say it's really the Crow meets Lobo. Because in Phil Diaz's world, everything meets Lobo.
Everything meets Lobo.
It's Lobo. Lobo is the do all
very
that.
Phil, if you're out
Lobo-y.
there still listening, it's Crow
Yeah.
meets Lobo. I think there was this desire in me that, like, I had this vision. Okay, let me give you the real story. So back when I was directing and producing Will Wheaton's Tabletop for Legendary, we did a role-playing game, and in it, this guy had this weapon, which was the jawbone of a serial killer as a weapon.
Oh,
And because
okay.
It was the jawbone of a weapon of a serial killer, so he could like punch ghosts and like other spectral creatures because it was like cursed. And And I always loved that. It made me think about Samson from the Bible, who, you know, the jawbone of an
Yeah.
ass, right? The jawbone of a donkey.
Yeah.
It was like a new version of that. And so I'd had this thought of like, I always know from a childhood this vision of Samson and his jawbone, right? And I wanted, you know, what is that new imagining of that character? You know, and in many ways, this is a Samson-like character where he is powerful, he has a jawbone, but he's inherently quite flawed, and almost in the only way he's going to be able to make his life have any meaning is he's probably going to have to die in this war, right?
Right.
Because he's done so many wrong things. To make it all right means he's probably going to die.
Making the ultimate sacrifice. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably the only way out of redeeming himself, and so he's haunted by this guilt. And so I think it started with, you know, who is a character that would use a jawbone, and what's the coolest jawbone I can think of? And so I thought, thinking, well, of the Leviathan, that monster from the Bible, right? This big, you know, mystical monster. It's like, well, what if you had that as your weapon? And then, you know, just because I was talking about it with Jason, you know, there was obviously this sort of Sons of Anarchy discussion always present, that it's like, maybe we merged this into a motorcycle person. And that was sort of the, you know, what sort of amalgamized it. And then it took a year of just sort of like mashing together for it to become that. And Jason kind of had a big, strong take on how he should look, and right away. And that, I think, like, we had like the first design of him before we maybe had the full story worked out, before I had worked the details of the story. I had like a loose story. But I wanted to kind of keep it in this biblical world. So the enemy is the myth slayer, right? Whose objective is to consume all the other myths. Here's him being summoned, right? He's the killing tree, this mentally unwell woman. She starts to hear this voice, and it's the voice of the myth slayer. And he convinces her to kill her parents and make a sacrifice, and then to cut down the killing tree, where he has been, you know, captive for 1,000 years. And his objective is to consume all other beliefs and myths. So he corrupts like anybody sort of with a strong will, or who is desperate for a belief, right? He twists and weaves things together and builds this collection of an army, and so that's kind of continued in that world. So it sort of started with like the Leviathan. And then how do I get an enemy that sort of fits also in a biblical myth, so as a belief element?
Sure.
And that's kind of what began the basis of the story.
That's fucking awesome.
Right, and then we started to figure out like who are these characters recruiting. So this is Reyna. This is the Myth Slayer's queen, and this we talked about how does she work, because she can become this horrific snake-like monster, right? Like when she's in like combat form, she's this massive snake, or I shouldn't even say snake. It's like this slug-like.
She's like a giant grub.
Yeah, a giant grub, right? You can see her here, right?
That's gnarly.
Moromi is getting this one, by the way. He bought this.
Nice.
But you can see the face of her there inside of this monster, right?
Oh god, that is gnarly as hell.
When she goes back to human form, that big slug throws her up out, and she's like in this sack, and she has to tear out of the sack, and she's all her bones are all broken, and she like reassembles herself, right?
Holy shit!
And that needed to be like, you know, how do we make everything about this metal? Then became the sort of the next question, right? Like, how does everything feel metal? Because I think sort of the missing component is like, you know, safe storytelling. You know, Nick Pitara, who did an amazing cover for us for this. Who I have
dude, that's a fantastic cover. Pitara is great. I love his stuff, man.
And I think he and I talked about that with Axe Wither John, his book. That if anybody hasn't read that book, you need to instantly read that book.
That's what I've been hearing.
Yeah, I'll send you. I'll get you a copy. But awesome. Here's her being thrown up and then like breaking her bones. You know, like she's thrown up out of it.
It's on backwards. Oh,
right.
Shit.
And then she's got to then break herself. And then you can see up there at the top right, that's the Myth Slayer. And at first, Jason, we were putting it together. It was sort of like this classical, sort of like Satan or devil-like character.
Right.
But I was like, he's not. That's not what he is. He's something beyond that. He's a perversion of it, and that's what became then this centipede. This centipede arm, right? You see, that's his left arm.
Oh wow. Okay.
So he wasn't just a demon. He was his own unique perverse myth, and and that's what he's become. And then, but he has been trapped away. He's locked away, and then he becomes. And so this warrior here. Let me show you this. So this guy here, this is the Leviathan warrior. So this is an ancient holy warrior who slew the Leviathan monster and uses his jawbone as a sword.
Yeah.
And he, helped lock the Mistslayer in the tree, the killing tree, and has been dead for 1,000 years. But Jawbone has this awakening because he's a heavy for a motorcycle gang, and he's beating people up and making horrible decisions and killing people and doing all the things that are sending him straight to hell. And he has this religious awakening when he's roughing somebody up for the gang, and he just turns the shotgun around and kills the gang leader and sets his world on fire, right? And then the gang's coming after him, trying to kill him. He ends up at the bottom of a ravine, bleeding out, and his blood spills onto the ancient gravesite of the Leviathan warrior, who then it wakes him up. And he needs an avatar to help fight the Mythslayer once again, and Jawbone will do it. Even though Jawbone is broken physically, broken emotionally, and spiritually, he's a catastrophe. This ancient warrior says, well, I guess you are the one that's been chosen, and so I can fix you physically, but you've got to fix yourself in other ways. And so Jawbone, his great regret is his ex-wife, who is in the hospital. She's dying, partly to his own fault, and he's haunted by how that fell apart. And so by winning this war, so to speak, the Leviathan warrior says, I can save her. And so it's his chance to make things right, if it can be possible.
So he gets to go on a redemption arc. That's fucking awesome.
This is a story about redemption, and every character in some way is seeking their own kind of redemption, right? Like Reyna, who is the queen, is seeking redemption. Not she was mentally unwell and her parents mistreated her because of that. So she's not seeking redemption like in a righteous sense. She's seeking, redemption in crushing people beneath her, right?
Right.
That's her way.
She's seeking revenge almost more than anything else.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
She's out for revenge, and that's her way of like, this is how I'm changing my station. So they all then are pitted against each other. This is my single favorite page.
Yeah, that is such a badass page.
It's the only one not for sale because it's just, I don't think I could ever.
Well, I mean, you got to hold on to one of them badass pages for yourself. I mean, I understand that, and I agree with Feline. The details on that are incredible.
Yeah. And then here's a bigger picture of the bigger image of the Mythslayer.
Okay. Doom.
So
hell yeah.
It's but yeah, that's like, I know this and all the motion of this, the feeling of this couldn't be better.
Again, getting back to that kinetic energy, man. Like,
yeah.
Seriously, you're doing some amazing work on this stuff, Crager. So, what was your visual like cues? Where did you were talking about like the bikers, and whatnot for the visuals of Jawbone Death? Did he kind of come out fully formed in your head, or did you kind of have to hammer him out, going back and forth a little bit?
I didn't hammer it out at all. I just kind of, we'd already designed the helmet and the jawbone and all that stuff, so we knew he wanted to be physically imposing like Lobo. Yeah. So essentially,
because Phil's here. Because of
Lobo. Because Phil's here.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the knee pad, the chains and stuff like that.
It's definitely Lobo. So, but when it came to me taking his helmet off, I've always been a big fan of older wrestlers and stuff like that. And before we started Jawbone, like he had hit me up to do something else. called Abraxas, and
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to
Which became Blood Moon Stomp.
right,
But it's
which
not, yeah.
became something else, right? And that thing, when he brought it to me, I was like, oh, we're gonna do Jake the Snake Roberts. I don't care what anybody says. We're doing the Goon, but Jake the Snake Roberts, and he's gonna, do the whole haunted house thing, and he has that ridiculous mustache. And so when it came to Mitch for Jawbone Death, I just took that character, that essentially Jake the Snake Roberts, and updated him for Sons of Anarchy. So I added a little bit of my, like, the way I kind of look in with it.
Right.
But it's just, a mustache and long hair is all it is, and a big square jaw. And
them wide hulking shoulders,
that's Lobo, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's all.
I mean, also biker enforcer,
Right.
Well, I don't know that Lobo is the originator of the big hulking shoulders, even like a little bit. I think that preceded him
Right.
by decades.
Right.
I think that that's a bruiser in general, has
Totally
carried that weight. But I think also too, he's not using a chain like Lobo. He doesn't have the characteristics of him. He's just happens to have, I think, sort of shares some aesthetic in his design.
right.
But which I think everyone enjoys because it's this
that testosterone fueled, almost 80s action hero type thing. He was that's what he was supposed to be. At least that's what he became. His first appearance, he was a little goofy looking, and he became, much more badass afterwards.
Oh yeah, it's its own thing, but it's definitely like when I'm in my own head and I'm drawing, it's like these are the shapes. This is how it works.
Yeah.
And like it's very reminiscent of Keown's like Hulk, or
Sure.
He has those type of shapes to him. So yeah, he's an interesting character to draw. I wanted him to have a goofy mustache because it was juxtaposed against him having that badass helmet. So I kind of wanted him to look a little goofy.
You gotta have a balance,
Right. And I think that's part of the balance. It's like that Rick and Morty that they go into Mad Max world, and Skull Crusher has this like badass helmet with a skull on it, but when he takes it off, he has this like little tiny cute little like PE teacher mustache. And it's the best, man. It makes me laugh. So it was because we were so serious and it is such a violent book, I wanted to kind of have that juxtaposition of things being a little silly looking, even though I render like things realistically in some cases. So yeah, it's fun.
It's about finding that balance. There's got to be a little bit of levity mixed in there, because it can't be all serious all the time, because then there's no contrast.
Yeah, we're not making a Kevin Nolan movie where we're making something that's fun, and it's a comic book, and we're aware it's a comic book.
Right.
And that's what's so fun about it. So for me,
it looks like you're having a lot of fun with this artwork, man. Like, just looking at these pages, like the artwork on the campaign here. I mean, look at this, y'all. Look at how fucking badass this is. And you've seen the pages that Adam's been showing. I mean, it looks like you're having a lot of fun working on this book, man. And comics should be fun.
I hope Jason is, because he's got a lot of pages to do.
I do. I'm actually working on a lot of stuff. I'm doing Jawbone Death. I'm doing Meathead. I'm also designing currently. I'm in the design phase currently for a book for Tacomi LLC.
Hell yeah!
So that's a real short one, but I have some designs and stuff I'm doing for that. And then I have some like short 10-page stories that are coming out through a book called Stained. So that's all kind of happening all this year. So we're moving through, and it's cool. I'm either going to win by attrition, which is, having more pages than any other artist in the world out there.
Right.
Or, somebody will like something enough to like make it go. So there's no way to lose if you do all the work and keep doing it. So
I mean, you're doing fantastic work, man. I mean, just these pages that are up on the campaign here are just fantastic. And I love the zipatone. I really do.
Thanks, man.
I'm such a fan of it. I'm such a fan of it. And so
it pops it.
So if you look at
it does.
For the campaign, the book's $20 to get the special variant signed. It's foil. It's 28 pages. But there's also, and you can see the rad zipatone. I love it. And there's also the Nick Pitara cover. So Nick did 2 covers, a red and a green one.
Yeah.
So the green one has 8 copies left, and the red one already sold out.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's so cool that it sold out so quickly. And I really like the green version as well.
The red one sold out the first day it dropped. Yeah, all 25 sold out. And with these guys, so those ones will be numbered. The Nick Pitara ones will be numbered. And then I tried to do this with CGC because some people have been asking for it. About a handful of people backed it. Probably the handful of people who've been asking for it. Where you can get the book, we'll get a CGC graded, signed, the whole thing, verified. Unfortunately, that's quite an expensive and unfortunately time-consuming process. It takes 2 months.
It is.
So that's why the number's quite high, but I don't know any other way around it because it's a very.
I mean, it's an expensive thing to do. Yeah, there's no way to get around it.
Yeah.
Wow, 2 pages left. 2 pages of the original art for the first issue, and
it
sold
looks like
out.
we've only sold 3, but actually we've sold almost the whole book because I put the original art up there 3 times and we just kept selling it out.
Yep.
And each time I'm like, well, I guess there's really the demand is greater, and we should. I hate to let them go, but let's get the pages out.
It's a hell of a chance for people to get some amazing original artwork from this book.
Yeah.
And at a steal of a price. Seriously.
Yes.
Absolutely
and
incredible.
that price also gets you the foil copy of the book as well. So and then we made a badass T-shirt because we need a badass T-shirt.
I am all about the badass T-shirts. I am wicked excited about that. And you guys did a patch. Got this badass T-shirt and you got a patch. I am collecting patches for my comic book battle vest to wear to conventions.
Dude,
nice.
As you can see, I'm already patched. I'm getting patched.
Yeah,
up.
man.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
I freaking love having the patches. I'm that guy. Not everybody loves them, but I do. Anybody who's out there who might have been on the pre-launch page, if you back, you get that for free. You don't have to do anything.
That's a fucking great patch too. The detail on the jawbone sword, that is so fucking cool, and it's going to look good on any vest or jacket that anybody puts it on. But
I liked the military green with it. I haven't done that yet. There's something that was quite nice about that. So I'm excited.
And that T-shirt, man, I can't wait. That is a fucking badass shirt.
I like that it's its own thing and it's not something that just came out of the book. It was specifically made to go on a T-shirt.
Yes, that's right. It is not pulled from the book.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, I don't really love the square. Like when you get the rectangle.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty hard for me to get excited about. Because it just has all the earmarks of not being designed for a shirt. Whereas this belongs on a shirt. It has that weight to it. And also, too, I print them on a high-quality Bella Canvas shirts that you'd actually want to wear. They've got hang
comfy
and texture. Yeah. Versus some kind of like stiff, cheapy Hanes thing that it's got like a box,
Yeah. I used to do design work for a T-shirt company here in town, and we'd do screen printing on them. And some of those shirts, they feel like, I mean, you almost feel like it feels like you're wearing a burlap sack when you put them on. You know, they're just not comfy,
Right.
and then you have that square thing on the chest, and it just feels like you're wearing a piece of plastic on the front of your shirt, and it doesn't breathe. You go out in the sun, and you're literally just sweating on the front of your body, and that it kind of soaks into the shirt. It's just not a fun, comfortable experience. So, yeah, I'm glad that you picked a good shirt, nice and comfortable. It'll breathe, and I like the fact that it's like you said, the artwork is designed for the shirt, so it's not that square thing on there, and you can see the shirt behind the character.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So fucking cool, man. I cannot fucking wait to get that. Absolutely
Part of me has
incredible
been
stuff.
wondering, and maybe people in the chat can say this, for the Nick Pitara cover, I was debating on doing it just as a virgin cover, without the title, so you get the whole thing. But I don't. Sometimes I think people like that less. They'll be numbered. They'll be signed and they'll be numbered. That'll be out
Right.
there. But I would put it on the back, the numbering.
I mean,
What
I
do you
think
feel,
you
Luke?
should,
What do you
man. I mean, I like virgin covers.
Okay.
I love seeing the trade dress. Especially when it's well done, and I love the logo for Jawbone Death. It gets the point across of the feeling of this book. But yeah, something like this, man. I feel like this would actually benefit from being like a virgin cover. And then just have the logo on the back. I think that would work.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I like Billy's logo for the book, so
Absolutely.
I'd like to see it on all the books. At least if it ends up on the back, it's still represented. So
No, I think that the trade dress, there's something, that feeling like a more of a proper book in some way, but
For sure.
right.
yeah.
I'm just looking at the layout of this image, this fucking killer, Pitara image here, and obviously down. You can't see my cursor down here at the bottom. It'd be a perfect place for the logo, but at the same time, the image kind of lends itself well to a virgin cover, in my opinion.
Right.
And I'm with Crager though. I love the logo that Billy did for you guys. It's a killer logo. It gets the feeling of the book across. It's got impact.
It does.
It tells a story.
It fits the weight of the book. I mean, the book is, like, as I was saying, it's that 90 metal type hardcore visceral thing. So it should look like, somebody in their high school art class did this badass like Jawbone Death thing, and that's what I think Billy did. Like, he just nailed it. So
Agreed.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
no,
dig it.
I agree. I Billy killed it. There's no question.
Yay. Good to see you, man.
Yay.
I think, and that's exactly what it needed. Like, I fought it a little bit in the beginning, but to be quite honest, it Adam pointed out, it needs this, and it needs it just like that. So
Agreed.
Yep.
Let's see. Scroll up and we'll see if we can show the logo off, because it's got it's got the colors and the punch, and I love the font that he chose.
It should be a little bigger and centered, but yes, it totally should be that.
Well,
Adam.
because it needs an echo of that era. You know what I mean? It needs to really echo of that era and feel like it is metal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I want.
That's not final placement. Obviously, the design hasn't been final. I
Good.
always get a print one out so I can look at it and double check and make sure I didn't make it awful.
Right.
And so, but yeah. Anyways, that is. But I do love that. I do love what Billy did there. So, but
It's
yes,
a fucking great logo.
yeah. This is a cool comic. I promise.
I'm super looking forward to this book, man.
Yeah.
It is.
We have a trailer here. Go ahead. What were you saying, Traeger?
Oh no, the trailer is actually not as sexy as you think. It's me just walking you through the book.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do you guys?
It's me just walking people through this, because I think I kind of have quit making trailers for these last sort of few campaigns, because I personally don't like to watch trailers.
Oh, okay.
I might be unique that way. I don't, because they're not in the book. This is what you buy, not a trailer. You're not gonna watch a
Sure.
movie. But that being said, I think people like them, so I'm gonna go back to them because I think in general everybody really likes them.
Well, it gives an idea of the book. It's
Right.
a quick little punch in the eyes, as it were.
Yes. So I will be going back to them. 'Cause I did really immaculate ones, full animation for my early ones. And then I was like, oh man, and maybe I'm also cynical because I've backed so many hundreds of books. You stop thinking about that part of it. And you're just like, oh, bye, and I'll just wait till it shows up, and then But anyways,
Right. Feline was saying about the logo, make it bigger, centered, and partially transparent would be cool. So
I think he's right.
Yes. Do you want to
Yeah.
see issue 2, like sneak peek?
yeah.
Unless Adam says no.
No,
which
please.
He's not going to stop me. So this is page 1.
Dude. Wow.
So the pencils are actually attached to the backs of all these pieces. So
Wow.
when we do the second campaign, the pencils are also attached.
Wow. Okay.
So I light box all my stuff from my pencils on a type of bond paper I use. And
Yeah.
so I just end up tracing over the top, and usually it's still there. Like I can, because everything is hold on, everything is taped.
Right.
The pencils,
Oh yeah.
and they're all just taped at the top, and at the bottom, and literally you can see my pencils for stuff.
Oh, I love seeing stuff like that.
And then you can see my inks.
It's so cool seeing
that.
how it comes together, and the process of kind of refining it and finishing it with the inks.
So maybe if it comes with the pencils, maybe he'll sell them for a little more money
I mean, they're getting extra value, that's for sure.
next time. The pencils are also attached to this. I love this shot of Mitch.
Yeah.
He's so good looking. He's good looking.
Will is saying the faces kill in these pages, and I have to agree.
This is the one that
I also agree with this.
excited people the most, is this Cthulhu that the Jawbone Warrior is releasing from his chest like havoc and shredding the monsters
Holy shit, man.
in Jawbone.
See, I love what you did with the Cthulhu because you used it as a panel, but it's also still it's still a fun. It's still getting the sound effect across. There's not enough of that in comics anymore. See, that's the kind of kinetic stuff that I'm talking about, man. I love that.
So yeah, there's a bunch of that stuff, and here, sneak preview of the book I'm doing with Takomi. This is actually the sketch that I sent him.
Hell
Of the team.
It's awesome, dude. I am so glad that you're working with Seth as well. You're working with great people, man.
It's very cyber forcey. I'm doing my inner 90s.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
man.
down to that.
Anyways,
Hell yeah.
fun stuff. Fun
Well,
stuff.
bringing back the fun to comics, man. I mean, like we were saying a little earlier, it seems like comics have not been all that fun. You know, story-wise, art-wise, it's all just kind of gotten a little bland. And this is anything but bland. This is exciting. This is fun. This is a punch in the fucking face. You know, and that's what people need. You know, there's obviously a hunger for good stories out there. You know, people are looking for good stories, something that's going to resonate, something that's going to stick with them, something they're going to think about, you know, something they're going to have fun with. And this is absolutely it. You know?
You want to pick something up, you want to read it, and then you want to be able to talk about it. Right?
Exactly. You know, something you're excited to get, something that you want to talk with your nerdy friends about. You know, there hasn't been a whole lot of that recently. I'm just saying, you know, when I was working in the comic shop, I would ask people, like, you know, how's this book that you've been picking up for a while? And they would kind of be like, yeah, it's all right. You know, I'm picking it up because I've been getting all of them. It's just like, that's not a good reason to keep picking it up. You know, if the story is not compelling, if the story is not grabbing you, then, you know, read something different, you know, support a different book. You know, the storytelling's got to be there. You know, the artwork has got to be there. Comics are a unique type of alchemy where artwork and story come together to give this unique experience that you can't get anywhere else. And if that's not the case, then it needs to be something, you know, you got to find somewhere else to get that entertainment from. At least in my opinion, you know.
Yeah.
Totally.
So I am wicked excited for this book, you guys. This looks fucking badass. I mean, it is right up my fucking alley, you know, and I can't wait to fucking get it. Hell yeah.
It's going to be good.
Nice. Well, thank you, Luke, for having us on.
Absolutely, man. Thank you guys for coming to hang out.
Chat. These are all like-minded folks. Love you guys, and it's just always good to talk metal with
you guys are fantastic.
The definition of metal.
Yep. Back job in debt today. Yeah.
Hit that link. Feline has dropped it in the chat. Go grab yourself a copy now. And remember,
Shop smart, shop S-Mart.